Welcome back to the channel. So I want to cover something tonight that has been in the news quite a lot. I want to be clear, this is an objective review, as if this were a real company and Britain were run like a real company. And it's around border control and border management. So if Britain ran border management the way a major company runs operations, Stop the Boats Ltd would have been sent back to the planning department before the slogan ever reached the podium. As always, a disclaimer, so this review is based on my own observations, my professional background, my experience. Watching this unfold as a member of the public, it isn't legal advice and it is not a criticism of individuals working in border security, immigration or enforcement. The people on the ground are doing a difficult job under intense pressure. My aim is to highlight the operational issues, the insights from my experience in health, well-being, safety, environment, security, and to encourage constructive improvement. This isn't political, it's organisational, because border management matters and we all want it to succeed. So, good evening. Tonight on Britain the Corporation we're conducting a leadership review of Stop the Boats Ltd, a flagship initiative launched with the confidence of a major corporate campaign, but with the operational planning of a project that skipped the fundamentals. So I grew up in the 80s when border control felt structured, predictable and quietly competent. You didn't hear slogans, you saw the systems, you didn't see headlines, you saw the results. Today the experience is very different, and with my background in corporate leadership, particularly in health, well-being, safety, environment, security, I'm analysing Stop the Boats in the same way I would any underperforming organisation, not with any emotion and not with politics, but with the operational reality. So, the slogan first strategy. So, a well-run organisation, you build the product first and then launch the marketing. Here the slogans arrived before the strategy and the operational plan still has not caught up. If this were a corporation, the board would be asking why the billboard went up before the factory was built. And the operational reality. Stopping small boats requires international cooperation, intelligence, logistics, processing, capacity, safe routes, legal frameworks, enforcement. Stop the Boats launched with a slogan, a podium, and a hope that the rest of the would assemble itself. In a corporate setting, the CEO would be asking where is the actual plan and the customer journey. An asylum seeker has to navigate a system that's confusing, under-resourced, inconsistent, cases taking months or even years. Communication's minimal, decisions are unpredictable. If this were a corporation, the customer journey would be marked as a critical risk. And resource diversion. Border force, immigration officers, courts, detention centres, local authorities, they're all overloaded and under-resourced. If this were a business, the CFO would be asking why a major initiative's launch without increasing any capacity. And the optics problem. So, Stop the Boats prioritises visibility over viability. In business, this is called performative strategy. It looks good, it sounds good, but it doesn't work. If this were a corporation, marketing would be celebrating while operations were quietly panicking. International cooperation. Stopping small boats requires coordinated international action. Stop the Boats often behaves like a company trying to fix a global supply chain issue without speaking to any of its suppliers. In a real organisation, the head of international relations will be asking for urgent meetings. And well-being, safety and security. So staff are facing long hours, high stress, emotional strain, constant scrutiny. In any other organisation, the well-being would be a strategic priority. Here it's addressed after burnout has likely already occurred. Safety is reactive, security is inconsistent, environmental controls in some facilities are questionable. A corporate health and safety audit would be completely unforgiving. And the process design and the case handling. So the process just resembles a conveyor belt for what I can see. And it keeps stopping, reversing and overheating. Reports go in, updates disappear, cases stall, the backlog grows. If this were a business, a workflow diagram would look just like a complete and utter mess. and risk management. Operational, legal, reputational, humanitarian risks are all high and predictable, and in well-run organisations this will be addressed early. Here they're often managed through statements rather than systems. The risk register would be absolutely full of red. So how it used to be in the 80s, border control was quiet, structured, professional. Today it feels like a marketing campaign without an operational backbone. If this were a corporation, the board would be asking why the brand is louder than the service. So what would a well-run company do? So a competent organisation would build the strategy before the slogan, increase capacity before increasing demand, modernise systems, invest in staff, well-being, prioritise based on the impact and not the headlines, work with partners and not around them, measure performance, and then act. In other words, it would behave like a business that really wants to make this work. So the future state vision, so imagine Stop the Boats with clear processes, modern systems, realistic targets, a supported workforce, international cooperation, and a leadership team that listens and doesn't think it's impossible. It's not happening. The slogan and the structure around stopping the boats is not struggling because of the people, it's struggling because of the structure. If Britain, the corporation, were a real, genuine business, leadership would be reviewing the processes, rebuilding the systems and investing in the workforce. Instead, it continues to function despite any structure, not because of it. And this is just one part, one division. So if there's a department or a public service that you want reviewed next, please leave it in the comments, because if this country really were a business, someone would be asking tougher questions and should be asking tougher questions. On this channel, we will. So thank you for watching and welcome to Britain the Corporation. Thank you.